how to read a book a week. Improvement here. How to read a book a week. As Chris says, we all know that people who read succeed. Look at the number. 85% of millionaires read at least 2 books per month, while 25% the entire American population hasn't even read a single book all of last year. So what's the best way to actually get yourself to start reading at a good pace so that you can succeed too? Well, you can basically guarantee to read a book a week by taking advantage of 3 psychological tricks. The first is something called implementation intention, basically setting an appointment. See, the biggest problem when it comes to reading actually getting started. So many people buy books that they are interested in and say to themselves, oh, I definitely read this, and guess what, the book just sits there on their shelf, never to be taught again. By physically writing down the time and place when you start reading a book, you are essentially setting up appointment to do so. And think about it, we don't really miss our appointments. When was the last time you completely skip a job, interview, or a visit to your doctor? So you might have need when you set an appointment, you know that you have to show up, and you usually do. The second psychology trick reading a book a week is to use what's called chunking, basically breaking down a big task into smaller ones. One of the main reasons people start reading books and never finish is because the task seems to feel like we can do it. Just take a look at a vast non-fiction book which is about 200 pages long. How long do you think it takes to read that entire thing in one sitting? You probably think 10, 15 hours maybe, where in reality the average human can read 200-page book in about 5 hours, which means you really only have to spend 45 minutes a day reading, which probably counts to just a chapter or 2. So instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna read tomorrow right out of lunch at home, it's much more effective to say, okay, read the next chapter tomorrow after lunch at home. When you break down a book, each chapter, and even further its subsections, which most non-fiction books have, then the brain will no longer see it as a huge obstacle that you have to overcome. Instead of thinking, oh my God, it is gonna take forever, you'll think, oh, that's easy, I can definitely do that. And finally, the last psychological trick to read a book a week is to use what's called temptation bonding, basically taking a task that you don't enjoy that much as turning into something that you really enjoy. For example, you can tell yourself that after every chapter or subsection of a chapter you read, you will gonna reward yourself next episodes or a segment of that TV show you love watching. By doing this just a couple of times, it will actually start to feel good to read because the brain will start associate it with something very pleasurable. It's gonna think, wow, every time I read a chapter or subsection, I feel great after. Now, what you might find is that you actually start to read more chapters than you need. By combining all of these riches, you end up with something like this. Okay, tomorrow after lunch at home, I read the next chapter of my book, and for every chapter I read, I get to watch the next segment of the new episodes of Game of Thrones. Try this out, and I guarantee that you'll find yourself reading a lot more. This episode was brought to you with Wise Audibles. That listening to audiobook is just as good as reading physical books, which is why I actually recommend using Audible. Audible allows you to listen to your book wherever you want, which makes it even easier to read a book a week. Go to www.asnbreto.com or take a voice improvement pill 500 to get 30-day free trial right now. It will give you one free audiobook plus two free audiobook original every single month. That's 3 books for the price of one. One of the books I recommend you guys to listen high performance habits with just very powerful habits that will change your life. Trust me, it's very interesting read. Besides that, guys, stay tuned.